Okay guys, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the problems with the new iPad Pro. But before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out to know that you guys want more content like this. Okay, so my first issue is that the iPad Pro is fragile. I do have the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. The height of this iPad is around 11 inches and width is about 8.5 inches. And surprisingly, it has a 5.9mm thickness, which is cool, but it does have its downsides. Look at this, it's even thinner than my iPhone XS Max. Having more depth and the addition of stainless steel makes the iPhone very strong. But the iPad Pro has an all-aluminum body, which is pretty malleable, meaning that it could easily bend in comparison to other metals, like steel. It's obvious that the size of this iPad leads to a larger surface area, and the more surface area that you have, the higher stress it has to go under when you drop it. So it is very easy to shatter if it accidentally slips out of your hands. So you do need to protect this iPad Pro with a really good case, which leads to my next issue, portability. The iPad Pro is pretty light taking into consideration how huge it is, but the weight adds on when you put it into a bulky case. The surface area is so large that it's sometimes too much for me to hold in my hands. The large display does give you a great visual experience, but when I hold the iPad with one hand in order to browse, the weight shifts to the other side and it starts leaning. This could be one of the ways this large iPad could slip out of your hands. Another issue is knowing how powerful this iPad Pro is. Yes, that is an issue for me. Geekbench Results says that this iPad Pro is so powerful that it could even outperform the latest MacBook Pros. But the problem here is that the iPad runs on a mobile operating system, so it doesn't really make it much different from an iPhone, but on a larger display. So knowing that the iPad Pro is so powerful, yet you can't use it to its full capacity really sucks. The power of this iPad Pro comes into play if you are a creative. As most of you might know, Photoshop is coming to the iOS early next year. Not little Photoshop-like apps, but actual Photoshop. Now that is pretty amazing for people who actually use it. If you saw the demonstration at the iPad Pro launch, you could have seen how smoothly the Photoshop was running without any lag or delay in responsiveness, and this is where the power of the iPad is actually being used. But for me, I don't use Photoshop, nor I use apps like Procreate. I basically just downloaded YouTube, Netflix, and a couple of games on it for now, and that really makes me think if the high price of this iPad is really worth it for me. I could have purchased last year's iPad Pro model, which is still pretty powerful, yet at a cheaper price. Another issue for me, and probably for a lot of you guys, is that Apple doesn't stop taking your money after the purchase of any of their devices. Apple is advertising the Apple Pencil and the Smart Keyboard Folio so much alongside the iPad Pro that it feels like you won't be accepted into the world if you don't purchase those extra accessories as well. The Smart Keyboard Folio is $200 for the 12.9-inch version, and the Apple Pencil is $130. So that's a total of $330 extra if you decide to purchase these accessories. But it sadly does not end there either. Although I'm thankful that Apple has switched from Lightning to USB-C, but that just gave them another excuse to take more money out of our pockets. You are getting a 1 meter long USB-C cable in the box. My question to Apple here is, if you are promoting the iPad Pro to be like a computer, then why not include the 2 meter long USB-C cable like you do with the MacBooks? It's really inconvenient to use your iPad while it's charging unless you make an extra $20 purchase for the longer charging cable. The iPad Pro doesn't come with earphones either, nor could I use the earphones that came with my iPhone XS Max. So again, you need to make another purchase of USB-C earphones or headphones, USB to Lightning port, or USB-C to 3.5mm headphone jack. There's obviously wireless earphones that you could use, like the AirPods, if you already have them. If not, that's another $160. So overall, it is an amazing piece of hardware, but it's not for everyone. Please let me know your thoughts on these issues if you have already purchased the iPad Pro and how you're liking it, or if you are still planning on buying it. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Until next time guys, take care.